Mr. James. I'm going to call you Mr. James Special because you are a special man right now. I can't believe I have the privilege of sharing a podcast with a guy who books five headliners for 3 days and then drops Million Dead in just for swagger. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Well, that is a nice intro. Thanks, mate. It's currently 2:40 on Thursday, isn't it? So we've had 2 hours and 40 minutes to digest this
And how's it
announcement.
been? It seems right off the bat, we're going to get a bit of all, but right off the bat, it seems like it's been a screamer.
Feeling absolutely great about it. It leaked this morning, which is the only stressful thing that's happened today. So a few places it started doing the rounds. It really annoys me when some
Ah,
like assistant in an office somewhere shares it with their mates in a WhatsApp group, and then it just slowly starts percolating out, the poster does. But it's been great. Everyone's been super excited, honored.
le-
I
le-
was
le-
nervous.
leaks are a funny one because we've always had plenty down the years as well, and it's like it feels because you see it somewhere else on the internet that the entire world have eyes on it. So for your perception, the whole world has seen the leak, but case in point right now, that leaked this morning, and I never saw it anywhere before trees. So it's one of these ones you're worried about something, and people are, but you really need to stop that getting shared into official groups and onto your official pages when it really starts to get poor.
Yeah, and you know when you've done so much work around the exact timing and all the bands are prepped and there's various contractual things about when you can announce and stuff, and it's all been agreed, and then someone else leaks it. I mean, look, we've had it a bunch of times over the years, so we're kind of used to it. But look, the ticket sales have absolutely flown. Everyone has, like 99.999% of people have been like getting so excited about the lineup. And I feel like some people are excited about different bits of it, which is kind of the beauty of trees in a way. It's not like everyone's excited about one band or even one group of bands. It's kind of feels quite spread out. Yeah, and I mean, 4 day tickets are basically about to sell out. VIP tickets are about to sell out. Camper van tickets are about to sell out. This goes out on Friday morning, so I think they'll probably hopefully still be available at this point as people are hearing it. But they are going, they will be gone, I promise you. So if
Brilliant.
you want particularly if you want a 4 day ticket, buy it now because the Wednesday lineup, which we haven't released yet, is amazing. And it's
Okay,
coming
okay.
soon.
Well, let's rewind a bit and start with who have you announced for anyone who's stumbled into this podcast from behind a rock and doesn't know yet. No,
Well, we've announced five headliners. Thursday co-headliners Kneecap and Paris. Friday co-headliners Taking Back Sunday and Coheed and Cambria. Saturday headliner Alexisonfire. On top of that, a bunch of other great bands, not least fucking Million Dead reunion show. So yeah, look, I could go on, but I'm sure people can see the poster online.
yeah.
I
I
feel
mean,
like it's a trees lineup that hits a lot of boxes for different people, and it's definitely the biggest we've ever done.
yeah.
You
I
know.
mean, and how did you? With a wee bit of nerves in the team as well. It's like this needs to be. This needs. This is hundreds of thousands of pounds on a piece of paper. It needs to go like it's the biggest announcement we've done. If so far we're only a couple of hours in, does it feel like it is?
Yeah, absolutely, it does. Yeah, we were nervous. I'm not normally that nervous, but there's a lot of eggs in this basket. There's loads more. There are loads more bands to come for trees, but this is the headliners, so you want people to be excited. But I spoke to Mitch this morning, first thing, and I was like, because we were like changing the lineup poster at midnight last night, and there was one band got added to the lineup poster, Gel, were added at midnight. And it was all a bit stressful. And I said to Mitch this morning, look, let's enjoy this because we could be bankers, right? We're not bankers. We're festival organizers. We're booking these lineups. Let's enjoy ourselves. Be happy and be proud. It's the lineup that I wanted to put together. So yeah, and it's going well.
Yeah, I
Happy.
mean, and this is not your usual. Well, firstly, you're getting this Friday morning. That's the first indication this is not your usual Two Promoters One podcast. We probably should have introduced this a bit better, but like we always do, we get a wee bit excited, and the two A's are fucking off without as much as an introduction. So yes, if you're wondering what the hell are these people doing in my ears on a Friday morning, it's because it is a reaction pod. It is a one-off. No, no, no. I'm sure we'll do maybe these sort of things will happen. in the future, and we'll jump on for half an hour, 40 minutes or whatever, and have a bit of a reaction to it. It's not like we're locked in to only doing the one pod a week as successful as that structure has been, and we will continue to come out every Thursday morning. But this is a wee bonus pod for this week because James just dropped the biggest announcement of him and his team's lives, and we wanted to get a wee bit of reaction to it rather than just reading what we were going to read on the internet. So first off, the Alexisonfire. Is that the band? Is that the band when you first alluded to getting your right off the top of the sheet one? Is that the band?
Sorry, say
Or
that again, mate, because you cut out.
the Alexisonfire, is that your page one, top of page one bands that you've been going after forever?
Yeah, 100%. I actually looked back into my archives because I've got every email I've ever sent on the festivals. The first time I offered for Alexis was 2006. Well, actually, the first time I discussed it with them was 2016. So me and their agent Ross have been chatting since 20.
Oh, I don't know. I think we're getting this is going to be the fucking scourge of daytime internet. Now, you might get us at night and you get two drunkards going on for almost 2 hours, or you get us during the day and then we are victim of the Bristol fucking Wi-Fi. Now, what is that all about, England? And I don't think he's going to come back. He looks like he's been frozen there for a fair chunk of time. There, you're back. You going to be back with us, James?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
I was
Um,
I was just bemoaning the lack of Wi-Fi signal in Bristol when we do daytime efforts. This is something that could be a problem today.
yeah, hope not.
Okay, Alexisonfire, 2016. You've been talking to the agent Ross since, so it was great to finally get that one over the line.
Yeah, look, I mean, look, if you're an Alexisonfire fan, seeing them in the dark headline on a festival is basically the place to see them, right? It feels like it's going to be one of the 2000 Trees sets that we've ever had. And like I said, started chatting about this in 2016, started making offers in 2019. It's been like an ongoing thing of me, like they're like the first offer out the gate every year. It's not Biffy Clyro, it's Alexisonfire is the first offer every year. And it's fucking happened. And like I was like I don't know if you ever do this, but on rare occasions, I book a band that I'm so excited about that I basically put them on and like dance around like I'm 15. So I was like, literally, when it confirmed, I was like, fucking song on, go fucking big, jump around your lounge, kind of like excited little boy thing.
And what was the
So yeah,
change? What was the change this year? Was it purely availability? Was it all it was down to?
yeah. I mean, they're not a full-time band anymore. One of them is a firefighter, I believe, in America, in Canada, and they you don't get that many days holiday a year. So it's not like Alexisonfire is their full-time thing. Dallas has got City and Color, and there's a bunch of other stuff going on around the band, and um, Wade is in about 16 different projects, I think. So it's not a full-time thing.
Yeah.
So
So
you just have to keep
stars need to
like
align.
knocking. Yeah.
Yeah. That no, it's class. I'm looking forward. I think I have seen them before. I'm not sure. Many a festival. I think one year. Those the band that clash with Leonardo once. No, I think that might have been Thrice. Because Thrice and Alexisonfire, the two bands I recognise as the bands I knew that one song of. Artist, the artist in the ambulance, and then as the city could be others or whatever the fuck it's called for Alexisonfire
Yeah.
are my two big bangers from Scuzz TV and Canang. So I'm looking forward to investigating. They're one of the bands I already know like because I like that style, but I couldn't tell you an album title. I couldn't tell you the singles. So I'm looking forward to getting a wee bit of Alexisonfire in my life before I come down and see them. A
Yeah,
band that
no
I
holidays in Mexico this year, mate. You got to be
no
there on a
holidays in
Saturday night.
Mexico. I mean, listen, I'm a trooper. Even if I go to holiday, I'll make sure I'm at trees to the very last minute. So, going a band that I do know a lot about, and we spoke about previously in this pod, do I know about Kneecap? Now, I don't know what episode it was. Let's guess headliners of the future, where I said to you about Kneecap, I felt like it was some sort of momentum going behind them, and that's a different vibe in Glasgow than it is almost anywhere else in the world because in Glasgow they are royalty for one half of Glasgow anyway. So I was like, oh, they could be a future headliner for Trees. And I remember you saying at the time, like, listen, the agent will be listening, don't go too crazy with how high up the billing in the main stage. And here we are, just a few short months later, headlining the main stage.
Yeah, and look, fair play to that. We have a go at agents a lot, but fair play to their agent Ed, because he I was speaking to him yesterday, and I basically said to him, "Well done, mate. This must be the most fun bit of your job. You like you brought that band to me in like 2021, and were like, you should book them for Trees, and they were like, no one had heard of them, and now they're headlining festivals, and they're this film's come out, which everyone should go and watch on streaming services. You were talking about it a few weeks ago. Um, you know, everybody loves the film. It's going to be probably going to be Oscar nominated, maybe going to be Oscar nominated. They're big deal now, and that band have built that agent has built that band, and so 2000 G's have been a real part of that story because we booked them in 22. They played in 22, small slot. They played in 23, and now they're back to headline, and it's going to be really cool. And they're basically the new to the rock world. They're the new Beastie Boys. It's like got that crossover thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
it's gonna be fucking great.
it's special, and I knew they were playing those two shows in Glasgow. I hadn't really given it a great deal of thought, as I said. I shouted at my good friend and the promoter Johnny Almond, so he does listen, but a couple of people got in touch with him with the podcast. Because by the way, Gav's trying to get on your guest list for Kneecap, which is might as well be trying to get on a fucking guest list for Oasis at this point because in Glasgow, the Barrowlands, it's like getting down like oh, you bastard, you really want to go to this? One night? I said, well, it has to be the Saturday, doesn't it? It needs to be the Saturday. So I am fucking buzzing
Yeah,
about
that would be
seeing
great.
Kneecap up here. I don't know if I'm going to take my wife or not. That might be a wee bit too much exposure to do. I think there'll be so much cocaine in that room. You'll see it in the skyline. Glasgow sniffer dogs better be out in full fucking force that day because I swear to God it'll be wild beyond belief. It's a certain type of fucking crowd, and it's not like they're hiding the fact either. They're literally singing about it. So, aye,
It's gonna it's gonna be amazing, I think, at Trees in the dark. They've got quite a cool stage set, I think. And look, if anyone's on the fence, and I'm sure there's plenty of people on the fence, I'm like, go and watch the film. That's gonna get you excited for this. I promise you, go and watch the film. And then secondly, like get aboard the hype train because this band is going to be too big for 2000 Trees in 6 months' time. So they are going to headline and they're going to go on to massive fucking things. So let's get on the Kneecap hype train because it's going to be
yeah,
great.
yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot. It's hip hop, but it's in some ways it's an Irish language, so it's not easy to understand hip hop. But there's tunes out there. I'll recommend one for on the record later. There's tunes out there that are more accessible to get into. That I felt from some of them are a bit like, well, that's a bit fucking wild or extreme. Where there's some of them there, and I'll get a wee bit more of a hook to them. So I give them a chance, especially this track that I will add to on the record. A band I don't know a lot about are co-headlining that night. Paris, I believe that's how you pronounce it, even though it's
Yeah.
Pvris.
Yeah. That's the first time you've ever said, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And it's actually been correctly pronounced. It's wonderful. Good, good. Look, again, I first offered for Paris in 2017. And I think we've talked about this before on the pod, but for me, it's important for 2000 Trees to be a leader with like representation on lineups, and we've always wanted a band that's led by a female or at least a non-white male to headline the festival. There aren't that many rock bands out there that can headline 2000 Trees that fit that bill. And Paris always felt like the number one. That's not why I booked them. I booked them because they're a great band and people are going to be excited to see them. But
It's a
feels
nice
like a
bonus.
moment for us. Finally, it's not four white dudes staring at their feet, headlining Trees. So that is fucking great. I'm really excited.
Okay, and I think I supported Bring Me the Ride. Were at a show that I missed them. I showed up late, so I've yet to check them out as well. Bands that I do know a bit more about: Taking Back Sunday and Coheed and Cambria. Now, both they're just bankers, aren't they? It's almost a bit like Alexisonfire. They're those bands when you book them, you already know it doesn't have that. Not that Kneecap's a risk factor, but is there a portion of your audience that still to discover Kneecap? Feels like everyone knows who these bands are.
Yeah, which of course everything comes with a risk, I think, in this game, because that means people have already made their decision on whether they like those bands or not. Whereas with Kneecap, some people are still will be making that decision, still undecided. But Taking Back Sunday is a long-term, obvious 2000 Trees band. Actually, I was in Arctangent. I was at Arctangent during setup, and I can remember I was stood on the yokai stage with the production manager discussing a problem we had, and my phone rang, and it was a very important booking agent. So I was like, "Fuck's sake, I'm gonna have to take this." Took it, and they were like, "We need to know if you want Taking Back Sunday for Trees next year now." And I was like, I just haven't got the headspace for it. I'm like, I'm not sending any emails. Can I make you a verbal offer over the phone? And they're like, yeah, you can. It's like, I literally made this booking on stage 2 days before Arctangent opened just by going, this is how much money I've got. And then it happened. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very unusual. Bookings never happen like that for me. So
And can we say uh, who the band were that you were dicing between both festivals?
uh, we're Coheed. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're
So
really too late now. So that was like when the conversation was happening. Like it's an unusual position for a promoter to be in. Is basically both festivals are competing against each other. That you finally went with Coheed, and it was for 2000 Trees.
yeah, and I did never compete with myself. I did not make an offer for Coheed for Arctangent this year. They played in, I don't know what year it was, 2019 maybe at Arctangent. I feel like the route they've gone on in their more recent albums, of which I really like the last album, is much more commercial. They're writing fucking proper bangers. So it fits Trees.
Yeah.
And to be honest, with Taking Back Sunday and Alexisonfire there, Coheed like slotted perfectly in to that. It fits that lineup. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm a fan of Coheed.
So five headliners, absolutely loving life. We'll get through some of there's not so much questions, but just points that I noticed raised in different groups. And for someone mentioned because it was so strong, and it sounds like you are going to sell out well in advance. Was there a need for the co-headline? Would you be better saving that money in the pot for future years or profits, or is it just a case as you as the promoter, when you can get them, take them?
My attitude to festivals is you're building a long-term brand. Like here's an example, like the Wednesday at Arctangent and at 2000 Trees this year will sell out, right? 100% it will sell out early. So some people would think, well, I'll spend less on the following year, you then struggle for sales again.
Yeah,
So my feeling is you go big, you keep going big, because basically if you go big, people will keep coming. So we don't want to sell out 2000 Trees this year. We want to sell out it this year and next year and the year after and the year after.
yeah.
So the band budget is the band budget, and we're going to spend that money.
Okay, perfect. That's a great answer for that. And then I assume that took a fair chunk of that budget as well was a band called Million Dead, who we only just spoke about. What was that, 2 months ago? Now, when we had Frank on, I think people came away from that podcast to clear up. There was no deal done on that podcast or immediately afterwards, was there?
No, I mean, not at all. And actually, my attitude was that I'm not going to chase this hard because partly because I'm not paying wild. I'm not being the one that necessarily makes a reunion happen and pays the wild money, although I've paid really, really good money.
Yeah,
I didn't want to like, and part of me thought they're going to decide. You could tell from what Frank was saying, they're going to decide in their own time, and when they decide, then they're going to come to Trees. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? It was always
yeah.
going to be Trees.
Yeah, it sounded like Trees was right up there. It sounded very hopeful. I wasn't surprised by the time that I got the news for yourself that it was going to happen because it sounded like it was going to go that way. And if it did, it sounded like it was going to go to Trees. And there was always going to be the business conversation that, fortunately for Frank, he doesn't need to get involved in. But some agent who doesn't know about Camp Turner and doesn't care about maybe the connection between Frank and the fans is going to be like, listen, dollars and cents. Let's talk. And you managed to get there. Was it one of those ones where always feel that the best deal is feels like a little more than you should have paid, and the agent or the band feel like they took a little less than they wanted?
Well, it was a very unusual deal. So basically, it's currently the 24th of October. On the 14th of October, the agent, who is an American booking agent, sent me a text saying, "Are you free for an off-the-record chat?" And my initial reaction was, "This is bad. Something bad has happened." And then I thought about it for half an hour, and then I was like, "Wait a minute. He's about to ask me about Million Dead here." So I rang him, and he's like, he's not aware of the podcast. So he's basically totally unaware that Frank spilled the beans on the podcast. And he's like, I wanted you to be the first one to know that Million Dead are getting back together. Do you want to do it at Trees? And my initial thing was, yes, I want to do it. The place they should play as second stage headline. Don't push me on main stage. It'll be better in the dark. Let's do it second stage headline. And he said to me, I totally agree. And he said, can you send me an offer? I sent him an offer. 2 days later, he said, we can get this over the line quickly. I need a bit more money. I said, okay. And literally, it took 4 days from the 14th of October to the 18th of October, and it was done. And as you know, in this world we exist in of band booking, that doesn't happen. These amazing bookings that you dream of don't happen quickly, and this one has. This has got a lovely full circle story to it because, as I mentioned before on the podcast, I sent Frank Turner an email in 2006 saying, I am starting a festival. I want Million Dead to play it. And he said to me, Million Dead can't play it, but I'll come and do a solo thing because I've got a solo thing I'm starting. And it's like fucking 18 years later,
Here we
Million Dead
are.
are playing 2000 Trees.
It's incredible. And I mean, fair play to Frank as well. It's like, I tell you what, there's people out there that are like, Million Dead money grab, million dead money grab. This is not the example of money grab. If you're on Frank Turner's Instagram or socials, you can see the crowds he's playing to right now in Germany. Million Dead is not a money grab to him. He'd make more money as Frank Turner. This is like a conversation I had about like why does Devon not bring back Strap Me Young Lad, and Andy Farrell be like, why would he? Why like
Yeah.
he makes more money as Devon Townsend? He would sell less. I mean, maybe not for a one-off Strap Me Young Lad, but over the course of a tour, you'll sell more tickets as Devon Townsend than he ever will as Strap Me Young Lad. That's a wee bit. Now he's doing that with his Million Dead bandmates because they want to come back and do it. It's not because Frank Turner's like, I'll make a few more coin at this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that they're super excited. I read an interview with them on NME.com yesterday, and they're basically saying they couldn't remember why they broke up. They're like, they had some issues which have just gone because they're all older now, and they're super excited. I know. So Julia, who is the bassist, is also in Future of the Left. So I know Julia. She lives in Bristol, and she sent me a message yesterday, basically just being like, "We're really excited. Thanks for having us." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Thanks." I mean, fucking up. But when years and years and years ago, I was like, there are four bands I want to reform: Million Dead, Ocean Size, Reuben, and McCluskey, right? And that I've managed to tick two of the four now, and I'm gunning for the next two. And I think
See,
Million Dead always felt like probably the most unlikely one because Frank was just off doing his Frank Turner thing.
yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, it's different when the bands are you see, or the bigger bands, especially if you get like I don't know, say Guns N' Roses or whatever, that the solo projects or whatever are just not that great, and the money's massive, and they just come back. I okay, maybe Oasis is another example. I mean, do the brothers really love each other now, or is it just a case of the fucking money's so extravagant that you're just going to come back at some point for huge cash? So I mean, the front lineup is incredible. It does feel for that initial announcement heavier than maybe this year's lineup, which, as much as I love all the other stuff, and I will listen to a bit of Andy singer songwriter, I love my heavy music as well. So you've got your likes of Harriet and Employed to Serve and Gel, and amongst that too, is that a conscious effort to try and get like a cave stage back to being a wee bit heavier than it was this year?
yep, Cave Stage is definitely going heavier. Imminence as well. You didn't mention that. Yeah, so there's a bunch of if you look in the sort of non-logo bands as well, if everyone goes and checks out the sort of up and coming stuff, there's a bunch of heavy stuff in there. It's not like the whole lineup shifting heavier. It's just like there's a bit of it that's going to go back to sort of what it was 2 years ago and be heavy again. I took some feedback on board. If you're not into heavy stuff, that's fine because you've got another 5 stages you can go and watch the music on. So I feel like it will be a better balanced lineup this year. Yeah, and there is I want to focus. I want to focus on the bands we've announced because that's what this is about. But there's all this shit that I know about that you don't know, that no one knows about,
Yeah.
that is coming. And in probably February the 1st, we'll give people another load of bands, and there's some more cool heavy stuff, and there's some fucking great stuff. There's don't know. how much of a hint to give, but there's another mental reformation in January to announce. I've done it. I've said it out loud.
Why don't
Um,
you? I tell you what. Why don't you go with the clues you did for these bands, and no one will ever work the fucking things out? Listen, I knew the bands. I knew your headliners, and then I saw the clues, and I didn't know the answers. I couldn't even put the band to the clue, and I knew what the fucking band was. So when I was looking at pills and fucking Trojan horses and nets, I was like, I hope someone out there's got a fucking clue what's going on. There will be people listening to this pod, perhaps for the first time, from Trace, because all they want to know is what were those clues about. So James, talk us through these fucking clues.
well, so I think it was Larry's idea, who runs our social media. Him and Mitch kind of sort of worked the idea, and my only feedback to them was, do not make this get too easily guessable because you don't want it to. You do not want to leak the whole lineup a week in advance.
No.
So make it difficult. So I mean, just picking a band at random, like the Kneecap one. So I'm reading Mitch's notes here because look, people are saying to me, "I know the lineup," and I still don't. I still don't get it. I booked the lineup. I own the festival, and I had no fucking idea what the clues were. So I've had I've had to get a crib sheet, Mitch, to tell you about it. Um, so the Kneecap one, we had a pill because of their song 3CAG, which stands for three Konasan Agus Guta, which is three consonants and a vowel. Sorry about my pronunciation, which is basically, I think, code for MDMA.
Yeah.
So that's their song. And the video border was a picture frame, which referenced their album title, Fine Art. So there's like two clues in there to Kneecap. Good fucking luck getting that one.
Yeah.
The Alexisonfire one, they had a centaur doing archery, which was that was a bit of the centaur was a bit of a red herring because the focus was on archery, pointing towards Alexis's song Pulmonary Archery. And Mitch said we had a fair few people guessing Alexis in general. So this one in particular had to be, as in people thought Alexis were going to be on the lineup.
Yes.
So this one had to be super vague. Ironically, a couple of people thought this clue was for Coheed. So they guessed Coheed on this clue. So fucking, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. You're going to need to do all five. Did you do all five?
oh, fucking hell.
I know
Okay,
you're
we'll
a
do
bit
all
like
five.
but listen, it's driving people crazy. They want an explanation. So if nothing else, they can come and fucking shout at you.
Okay, here we go. Second clue was for Paris. We had a Trojan horse, which was part of the Trojan War, a war that took place after Paris of Troy took the King of Sparta's wife. Basically, Paris of Troy was a key part of that myth. The Trojan horse also had its eyes closed, so you could see its eyelids, the title of a Paris song. So again, two clues in there. Fucking hell. I mean, if you're the person, if anyone got any of these, they deserve like free tickets for life. Third clue, Taking Back Sunday. We had a wolf and a net. This was pointing towards one of Taking Back Sunday's bigger songs, Timberwolves at New Jersey. This one was intentionally a bit complicated. Needed to be a basketball fan to make this link. Basically, you've got a wolf equals Timberwolves, but also Timberwolves are a US basketball team. And when the song was released, the New Jersey basketball franchise was called the Nets. So chuck it all together and you've got Timberwolves at New
I
Jersey.
think someone
Fucking
got
hell.
that. I think I read someone saying this was about the Timberwolf Nets. She was a bit like, obviously at that point I had no idea what that could possibly mean towards the bands, but I was like, I recall somebody writing that yesterday or the day before that could be about a fucking basketball team. So well done. Well
I mean,
done.
it's incredible, isn't it? It's incredible. The fourth clue was Coheed and Cambria. This one was a bit more simple. The clue was an image of a house pointing towards Coheed's top song, Welcome Home, as well as their song, A Favour House Atlantic. A fair few people were guessing Paris for this one, ironically, because they have a song called My House. So, yeah. And then yesterday, somebody got all five, and I was like, that prick knows the lineup, don't they? They're
Y-
like, that's the boyfriend of somewhat of a booking agent
Yes.
who's seen the poster and is
Yes.
being an asshole. And that's
Aye.
so annoying when there's a few people trying to spoil it for everyone, but I thought mostly everyone took it in such a great spirit of trying to find the
I mean,
clues.
placebo was one of the most guessed because of the pill. I seen a lot of guesses for placebo. You've spoken previously about your want to get placebo at some year. Well, fuck it, let's just ask him placebo. Was that ever on the cards this year?
No, they're not. They're not really in my top list of bands I want to book. To be honest, I absolutely love the Manic Street Preachers. So if I'm booking a band from that
You
sort
go,
of
you go
world,
for the
I'm going
Manics.
Manics. I'm going Manics. Yeah. I would. I suspect Placebo is probably a slightly better fit for Trees than the Manic Street Preachers, but not for my listening tastes. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I have to say I'm a big Placebo fan. For whatever reason, I've always liked a bit of Placebo. Now, Rob, your brother, who I'm getting on quite well with these days. I feel like me and Rob are there's a bit of a bond here. He's got the business now. I'm the talent of this podcast, and we just kind of edge you out. You know what I mean, you just be told to show up at a certain time, record for an hour and a half, and then me and Rob will take it on to the future.
Mate, you're not giving Rob the business now's credit. I'm a qualified accountant. He's a furniture designer. He's not having that.
It seems to have more ideas bounced him in our head. Now it wasn't so much a question, but he said, "Look, can you tackle how it feels? How many positive comments do you need to read before that one negative doesn't sting?" And my answer to that is it's a sliding scale because if it's just this lineup shite, why don't you book Anil Nathrak? You scroll past it and almost laugh as like a smirk to the whole just someone who no idea what they're talking about. But other times you can get ones where they kind of cut a bit deeper. There's just they hit a nerve where it's something you've tried to do or haven't managed to do, and they hit that nerve a bit like, oh, we should have this black metal band or that thrash metal band, and you know you probably should, but you just couldn't make it happen. And those ones sit. But I've definitely read 99 positive comments, one negative, and then still felt the negative much more severely than any of the positivity. So having just had an absolutely unbelievable announcement, you will have, it's the nature of the internet, people are now going meh, underwhelmed, that kind of stuff. How does that sit with you after all these years?
Yeah, I mean, it hurts, to be honest. I find it quite hard to just brush over it. Um, I really hate the fact that even though we're like, me and you are out here being like seen and heard, and we are clearly just normal people, right? People still talk about you like you're a multinational corporation that's
A
just trying to fuck
robot.
them over with a shit lineup. Yeah. And and to be honest, if you're, let's say you're a massive Enter Shikari fan, and we've hyped you all week, and you've convinced yourself it's going to be Enter Shikari, and you might not be a fan of any of those five headliners or Million Dead or whatever. I accept the fact that you cannot at 2000 Trees, you cannot please everyone. I think at Arctangent it's a bit easier, but you can't please everyone, and you, it does get me down a bit. But today has been mega positive. But there's a few people who've been like, fuck's sake, you've been hyping us all week, and this is what you've given us, and fine. If that's how you feel, I'm like, if you've been to Trees for the last few years, you are gonna eventually have loads that you want to see at Trees. It's not
Yeah,
changing. It's
yeah,
the same festival
yeah.
it's been for
That,
quite some time now.
That's a good
Um,
point. That's a good point as well. There's a difference in there's levels. This is might sound odd to somebody else, but there's levels of where that complaint will penetrate further. Now, if you go into the damnations, I mean, on Instagram, for example, I might not even notice it. I didn't read the fucking comments on Instagram. Go into the damnations Facebook. Yeah, it's just anyone passing through. I mean, it's anyone passing through for any page with any given being or bonnet, and I largely ignore them too. But you come onto the forum and you're a bit like, this is a place where people have got a vested interest in damnation success, and the whole point of that community. And then you shit in the lineup, and that penetrates a bit further. But then you still get the odd two, three, four people where you get a feeling, or you know that they just don't come to damnation. So they'll go, is
yeah.
Electric Wizard really the headliner? I'm underwhelmed. And then they do the same thing the following year, whoever the following year. And like, when was the last time you came to Damnation? I've never been, or 2008. And you're like, well, what is it? Well, if you're only here to tell us you want Damnation to become UK Death Fest, ironically a festival that collapsed in its first attempt, then that's not happening. We're not booking those bands. It's not going to become it's not going to become a death metal event. So there is a weird way how you can brush them off, and where somewhere that's a bit more like, I'm listening to what you're saying, but some people, you also need to understand that they're not there for your best interest. It's like, as you say, if you ever came to Damnation, I mean, looking at last year's lineup or this year's lineup, going, this is the worst Damnation lineup ever, you're about like, this is a Damnation lineup. This is exactly the band you'd expect to see on Damnation. Like, there's no point showing up here and asking for something else. And this is exactly what you'd expect to see in a Trees lineup. There's you looking at that like
Yep.
a lot of impressive new names, a lot of impressive old names, a lot of names that have been requested time and time again, and you're like, what were you expecting? If it were right, okay, Biffy Clyro and Shikari, but take them away, what else were you expecting?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And as I've said a number of times on here, I'm super fucking happy with it. And look, let's face it, Kneecap and Creeper and Nothing But Thieves and um a bunch of other bands a few years ago were in the small text at the bottom of the poster, right? So one of the things that is so important at Trees for me is the small stuff at the bottom or the medium-sized stuff at the bottom that's going to rise up and is going to fucking headline the festival in 2 years' time.
You hear
So
that, Meryl Streak? This is our goal, mate. Me and you to the top of fucking 2000 Trees. If Kneecap can do it, you can do it.
that would be amazing, wouldn't it? That would be great. So yeah, look, I'm really happy, but there will be more to come that will tick some more boxes and stuff. And if you look at that lineup, like there's like acts like Rory and Bambi Thug, they're not they're not their fans aren't also fans of Alexisonfire, probably. So it's a whole new different thing that will get people excited. Yeah. So we're in a good place, I think.
Okay, we've got 7 minutes left. If we keep this to the target we're going for, let's try and not go over 7 minutes. The
Okay.
Anything else in that initial reaction you want to mention before we sort of move on?
Well, a few people have asked about the billing. So the band, just to so Paige McCardle asked, is the band on the left or the band on the right? The first one. So the final band of the night is the one on the left. So Kneecap and Taking Back Sunday will close, and the other two on those respective days will play just before them. And Adam Robertshaw asked, with double headliners, is there any trickiness in deciding the running order? But basically, there could be, but there wasn't in this case. I was basically like, I made an offer to Kneecap, which said there will be a co-headliner. You don't get to approve that co-headliner, but you will be the last band on. And then I make an offer to Paris saying, you are co-headlining with Kneecap and you will
Yeah,
play before them. That's the
yeah.
offer. And it was the same with Taking Back Sunday and Coheed. There wasn't any like, let's have a conversation about this. And obviously, if you get like, I think Queens of Stone Age and Paramore did it one year at Reading, that might be a different chat then. But for this, I made the decision and the bands went with it. And I think it'll work the best. So yeah.
Yeah, it's what to, and
But
then
no,
an industry insider type of one that I was quick at taking, and not taking back Sunday. Alexisonfire also announced for London the same weekend. Now that just seems to for the business side, that seems to throw another rock into the or another hurdle in this because okay, you might now need to align your announcement with the taking why am I keep calling them Alexisonfire show down there. But then how does that sit with the other four bands, the Kneecaps and the Taking Back Sundays and the Coheed and Cambrias with their scheduling plans? So it's like, can you imagine trying to negotiate getting all five of those bands to be available announced the same day, and then you've got another show that ties in with that, and everyone's schedule needs to work together?
yeah. So Alexis was the only one where we were worried about another show. And basically the only way to make the finances work was to let them do that London show or me to pay more than double, which wasn't going to happen. So they have to do that London show. That means those shows really, the London show would like to announce first, so with the festival. So we kind of agreed we'll go at a certain date, and the festival picked the date, we picked the time, and we all went off together. And Alexis, if you go on their social media, did a post with both posters on their Facebook. I was looking earlier on. They've put both posters up, the London show and 2000 Trees. And the beauty is, if you're a Alexis super fan, you can watch them at 2000 Trees and in London the day after. Come to a festival and then head to London.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and then
but
for a very, very personal point of view, Birds and Row, an absolutely fantastic fucking French hardcore band for anyone in 2000 Trees that doesn't know, are supporting with Jail in London, but so far don't appear in the Trees poster. So put you in the spot there. A Birds and Row, one of those bands that's maybe just too heavy for Trees.
no, so I was involved in the Alexis conversation about who was going to support in London because I'm the only one who knows all the bands that I've got over for Trees. So I
Yeah.
gave them a list of everyone that was playing. Um, Birds and Row weren't one of them. And now Birds and Row are going to be in the UK. I mean, it's a total no-brainer to book them, really. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if we can agree the money, they'll definitely be at Tree. So I haven't booked them yet. And I was aware of this a few days ago, and I just didn't want to complicate my artwork pain any more than it already was complicated and
Yeah,
painful.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay. And then in the sort of bollock of billing, I saw an original poster, and then I saw another poster where a band appeared to move up beside another band, and I was like, oh, I wonder if there's I wonder if was there any ego jostling about in the bollock of billing?
well, I actually apologized to the booking agent this morning who listens to this podcast. And because I was really arsy with him yesterday, and I was really pissed off. Which I don't often get really pissed off. I may have sworn in my email, and so I apologized to him. I sent him a message this morning, and the billing has been painful. Weirdly, I was all cocky couple of weeks ago because we got the way the headliners are laid out. We'd agreed that
Yeah.
about 2 weeks ago, and I was thinking that's the hard part, and it's not the hard part. It turns out it's all the other shit. Um,
All the
I don't mean
smaller
the other
bands.
bands are shit,
Yeah.
but it's just from everyone from Million Dead downwards, every single band had an opinion on where they should be.
Yeah.
And there's a
It,
couple of times, there's a couple of agents that don't listen to this podcast, I hope. I literally just said to them, no.
yeah.
Like they're like, we need to go there. And I'm like, no.
No.
And
No,
then they were
at
like,
some point
well,
it needs to be that 'cause
no.
every single band believe they need to be up or across or up or across. I'm not in the tiny print, but in the logo section. I'm not in the logo section. I'm fucking on the headliners. So you need to.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that because I feel like now I've got some proper promoter PTSD that I can spot a poster here and there, and I just look in a spot where I go, something's changed there, and I wonder
Yeah.
if that's the story for it. Because like we have not discussed this, but I feel like I know exactly what the band is, exactly the age it is, and how that change came about. So yes, we will talk about that offline. We have.
Well, and it's like, why is one line just suddenly seem to have more bands on it than all the other lines? It's like, well, because everyone was arguing.
Yes. Okay, just quickly to wrap things up then. We uh we had someone get in touch and ask if we could give Mr. Rob Gange a birthday shout out. I believe Rob is turning 50 tomorrow. So happy birthday from both myself and James. I know this name from the Damnation forums, and I think he's been a long-term supporter of Damnation. His wife got in touch. I should have really written her name down. I think it's Tracy, and asked if we would give him a shout out. So this is your shout out, mate. Thank you so much for your support. I also believe he's a Ko-fi subscriber. Rob Tones. We might have answered the question. If not, it will come at some point. So happy birthday, big man. Hope you're having a good one.
Happy birthday, Rob. I hope you have a really great one. Are we going to finish with an on the record, or are we not finishing with an on the record?
What let's do. I know we set ourselves, we had to finish that 60 seconds. Let's give ourselves another couple of minutes. Well, I mean, probably wasn't going to do a sponsor shout out, but let's do it right here. If you like hot sauce, Lou's Brews. If you want your festival look as cool as damnation, Meloria.events. You're probably also asking, Gavin, what the fuck is that really well fitting t shirt you're wearing all of a sudden? And I'm like, this is, James, the new Damnation clothing drop, which
Lovely.
absolutely fucking lovely, well fitting. This should be available
Very nice.
from today. From today. So we should have shorts, jogging bottoms, this t shirt, potentially windbreakers also available from today. Go to damnationfestival.co.uk, merch, and it will be delivered to you before Damnation next weekend.
Looks very nice. Can I just check it is on Stanley Stella though, mate? I don't want any of this fucking Gildan shit.
This is Souls. This is Souls. So
Is that the
heartbreakingly,
next level up?
Jesus man, this is how deep this podcast is. Even when we try to go off, we're still going to stuff. The Stanley Stella stopped the t-shirt that I love. They stopped production of it, and now it looks like a
Wow.
slightly oversized. And I wasn't willing to risk it. I do like the Soul stuff that Allotment used for the two promoters, one pod merchandise. This is the same t-shirt that's used that, so it is still quality. It's not absolutely not Gildan, absolutely not Fruit of the Loom. So yes, go and get yourself some shorts, jogging bottoms, windbreakers. It's all good. On the record, James, hit me up.
Well, I hope I'm not going to choose your one song that you've been waiting because that is a possibility. So I've got a backup if I need it. But the song that I put on to jump around the room to Alexis on Fire was "This Could Be Anywhere in the World," which is a really fucking obvious choice. I think it's their most played song on Spotify. But if you've never listened to Alexis, which there will be a bunch of people that haven't, this song's a fucking rager. What a song.
Sing
Um,
that big chorus for us. Sing a bit.
no,
20.
No, mate, no chance. You'll have it in a reel within the fucking hour. It's not happening.
After Bry done me up like a kipper on the fucking, it's going to be an hour and a half last night. I'm desperate. You're due a good kicking for this podcast. So Bry, come on, help me out here, pal. I am not choosing Alex. I'm glad you picked that track because when I listened to the one you were going to pick, I was like, thank fuck, that's the one that I know, and it is an absolute banger. It's a four filler. I'm going to go with Kneecap, Hood. Now, this is one of these ones where if you watch the film, you'll recognise it because it was, I think it's sampled in the film as well. It's a strange one again. When this Glasgow, like Chucky Allah, our day will come, or our time will come. As you grow up in Glasgow, it's sort of portrayed as one thing, it's like a sort of freedom protest for the Irish, another way it's like it's a terrorist chant. And people have lost jobs for saying phrases like that up here. And then to hear it like in your Spotify, but not for like some Irish rebel bands that you're hearing at Celtic Park, like for a proper band that are now going to go and headline trees, is just it's bonkers. I mean, please go and watch that film if you're not getting the context with this about what they're coming from, singing in fucking Irish or rapping in the Irish language, which in my understanding is about fucking as well used as Gaelic as in Scotland, i.e. not at all. And I hear that it's just class. Everything about it's just a wee bit bonkers, and they're exciting. They're fresh. It just feels like something new. I'm so glad that they're headlining trees. I'm so glad I'm going to get a chance to come catch them at Barrowlands. But for the next show will definitely be the Hydro. I have no doubt about it. The next one will be at the Hydro, and I catch them on the way up, as James said. Did we keep that to a reasonable length for you, James?
That was good, mate. We did well, I think. Pretty good. Pretty good. Less than an
Brilliant.
hour.
We we will. I mean, that was actually pretty quite a struggle to keep that under an hour. When we started these, we were doing them in half an hour. So brilliant, mate. I will talk to you soon.
Thanks, mate.